boys were raised in the inner city who lived on the same block. All went to the same schools, played at the same parks. Their mothers went to school together. Fathers went to school together. Their whole families went to school together. These 5 boys had love for each other. Until one day one of them moved 20 blocks to the west. Other one moved 20 blocks to the east. Another one moved 20 blocks to the north. And the other 20 blocks to the south. But one of them stayed in that neighborhood and never moved. They all joined organizations in the neighborhood for different reasons. Some to belong, some to feel protected, some for loyalty to the neighborhood, and some to protect the neighborhood. But these 5 boys are now enemies. Why? Because of the block? These boys don't speak to each other anymore. Why? Because of the block. These 5 boys don't hate each other, but they will kill one another. Why? For the block. The block. What happened to the love on the block? What happened to the community on the block where everyone held you accountable? People, it's time to get back to the block.
What's up, everybody? What's up, Chicagoland area? Welcome to the block. My name is Todd Clark. I am your host. And listen, we're excited for you all to be with us again today. This is a awesome opportunity. I tell you, I get so excited when I sit in this studio with some wonderful family, with Bianca and the family. They are great people to work with. But we're excited that you are with us today on the block. This is a solution-based podcast. And this podcast is one that desires to attack some of the issues that we have in the Chicagoland area, such as recidivism rate, the high school dropout rate. We're dealing with the prison rate and crime rate as well. And so our desire is to team up with organizations who have programs and already operate in the 7 mountains or 7 spheres of influence. That's a tongue twister. But those spheres are arts and entertainment, family, religion, business, government, education, and media. These are the areas that shape modern culture and also influence the mindsets of society. And so we are here at the block. What our desire is to partner with organizations who already have programs and activities that are geared towards young people in the inner city, in media, in business and entertainment, business and arts and entertainment, who already have programs that help them to build, first of all, understanding of those areas, to pull out gifts and talents out of them, to help them to organize, for instance, in business, organize business proposals, how to get loans, how to advertise themselves, how to market themselves. In media, we want to partner with organizations who have understanding that sometimes, media can be used for a negative purpose, but how do the young people use it for a positive purpose? Because we already know that there's young people who, most young people love to be on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and those social media sites. And so we want to partner with these organizations who have already dominating in those areas, who have programs. And so in the Chicagoland areas, there are schools, arts and entertainment schools, who help develop actors and cinematographers, and also those who are in the creative arts as far as doing painting and drawing and things of that nature, but help them to develop and sharpen the niche that they have and the talents and the gifts that they have. And so we're going to be partnering with these organizations. And how are we going to partner? What we want to do is we want to say, how can we serve you? How can we come and be a part of some of the events and events and activities that you have in the community? When you go out and you advertise and you are promoting your school or organization, can we come out and serve you? Can we be of service to you? Can we help to promote it? Can we talk more about what you're doing in the areas? Because some of these schools that exist in Chicago and some of these organizations and programs, they may be on one side of Chicago, but the other side may not know about it. They may be on the north side, but the south side does not know about it. So we want to help to expose these programs. And by exposing these programs and by getting these young people involved in it, it helps them to occupy their time and not to get involved in those negative activities and things of that nature. So we are so excited here today because this podcast is not only a podcast, but we are definitely an organization who want anybody who's watching who actually function in those areas, those 7 mountains, those 7 spheres of influence that I mentioned. If you want to reach out to us, we're going to give you some information at the end of the podcast. We want you to like and subscribe our Facebook page and also our YouTube page as well. And we're going to be on other platforms of social media, as well. And so today, we want to just kind of delve into a topic that may kind of shake the masses a little bit, because one of the areas of the 7 mountains of influence is religion. And so we're going to talk about religion. We're going to talk about culture. And so we want to play a video to even get started so that you all can understand what and how important religion and culture is to the society and how it affects the society. Check this out, everybody.
Is it religion or is it culture? Understanding whether a practice is from a culture or a religion often gets confusing. So, what exactly is religion and what exactly is culture? A religion is a set of teachings which come from God and are based upon principles that reflect the attributes of God. For example, all the religions teach compassion and kindness. This is a fundamental attribute of God, where He forgives our mistakes and is compassionate to those who seek forgiveness. Culture, on the other hand, has no objective standard. It changes according to world situations. It is different based on the social behavior, customs, and ideas of particular people and societies across the world. Culture is a way of life, and this also includes one's religion, alongside other things like what we eat or wear, our language, our traditions and customs. Over time, cultures evolve and change. However, religion comes from God, so fundamentally, the teachings are always the same. But over time, variations in religious teachings occur when people start applying their own interpretations, often influenced by cultural traditions. It can be easy to conflate the innovations of culture and the teachings of religion, but we all have a responsibility to educate ourselves on what is a guideline of religion and what is an innovation of culture. Religion transcends culture and is high above any cultural ideas or traditions. To determine whether a teaching or practice is genuine, we must always return to the original source of that religion.
All right. I just wanted to play that video just to kind of give you an understanding of religion and culture. Now, today we're talking about religion. We want to delve into this area, this mountain of influence that is very important in our society, and how religion affects culture and how culture affects religion. And as the video just said, religion is a cultural system of beliefs, practices, and worldviews that connect humanity to the sacred or divine. That's what religion is. Let me tell you what culture is. Culture is the shared set of beliefs, values, customs, and behaviors and artifacts that characterize a group of people. How we interact with one another, the environment, how we perceive the world, and how we relate to one another. And so this is a very important topic, the religion and the culture aspect, because we understand that religion is something that people sometimes they're born into. They're born into a certain set of beliefs, a certain set of ideas, how they relate to God, who they call God, and how they worship, how they dress sometimes. So we know that sometimes religion is so important in certain families that it kind of dictates the function of the family, how they operate, how they interact with one another. And so that affects culture, and culture affects religion. Now watch this. This is how religion shapes culture. It shapes culture in its ethics and values. Also in art and architecture. Another way that religion affects culture is life milestones, how people are born, the different traditional marriages, also how they're buried. Is how religion. So certain religious practices are incorporated in how people are married, how people groups are married, how individuals are, when they're first born, and also the burial practices, and also religion shapes ethics and values, meaning that sometimes the way that the teachings and the doctrines of certain religions formulate how people, what people say is near and dear to them or important to them, and also the values, the moral values, how they treat other people, how they function when they go outside of the home, what they count as being important and non-important, and then art and architecture. We can go to some temples and some mosques in society and some churches, and you'll see, just different artistic architecture, with pictures of certain religious figures based upon the religion that is the building that you're going into. And also another way that a religion shapes culture is worldview and identity, how you view your place in the world and informs your heritage. So religion, depending on what religion that you take on, it can determine how you view yourself, the place that you are, the importance that you are in this world. How you look at the world, how you look at government, how you look at how society is set up, what's happening in society, what should be going on in society, how the government functions, how they're not functioning in your sight, what needs to be tweaked, what needs to be worked on, what's important in society. Are there certain categories of hierarchy in society? It shapes sometimes your worldview. Now, culture shapes religion adaptation, meaning that one way that culture can shape religion is, if sometimes there's some places that you go where they dress a certain way. They have a certain way that they dress. They may dress in jeans and t-shirts. And so that's how when they go into the temple or go into the churches, that's how they worship, in jeans and t-shirts, because in their culture, they feel like they don't have to dress up and have to be in suit and tie every day. Or the culture, meaning once you go into the religious temple, if you're going to eat in that temple, or if you're not going to eat, if you feel like this temple is too holy for you to eat food in, then you're not going to take certain foods or any foods into that place, because in your culture, this place is a place of worship. This is not a place for you to be partaking and eating and things of that nature. And so certain kind of music that you might have in your culture that's important, sounds, R&B, it could be rock, it can be traditional music, it can be contemporary, it can be heavy metal. Your religion, that can be a part of your culture. What's your culture in your home or in your society or in your environment? This is the kind of music we listen to, and it can shape how you view your religion. It can affect how does these two things, I can be accepted in my religion because in my culture, this music is okay. And so religion and culture go hand in hand. And so today, what I want to just talk about is how it affects how we deal with one another. This is a solution-based podcast. And so our focus is focusing on these areas and finding out how they affect the behavior of people in society and how they affect how we treat one another. Now, another way, diet and clothing, the way we dress, are areas of culture that shape our religion. Now, this is a question that I want to ask. This is something that, how important is your religion to you? How important is your system of beliefs to you? How important is your culture or what you look at? Do you have a culture? Do you have things that are important, practices and traditions and ideologies, or certain things that are very valuable to you, certain ethics, how you function in your day-to-day, in your conversation, how you articulate? Do you have those things in your life, or do you just conform to whatever everybody else is doing? And so the reason why this is so important is because without any kind of identity, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. If you don't have any kind of identity, and not to say that you are needing to have something, a label on you, but there needs to be certain principles and practices that we need to have in our lives that we say, I'm not going this far. It stops right here. Or I'm not going to treat this person this way. Or certain things are not coming into me because I have these values. Do you have any kind of values that you can say that you have a certain system of belief or a certain culture? Now, the reason why, now these are core elements of religion: beliefs and worldviews, practice and rituals. So prayer, meditation, and worship services. These are elements of religion: prayer, meditation, and worship services. There's so many different religions in the Chicagoland areas, and everyone has a different prayer method, who they pray to, how they meditate, and also the worship that they have. They also have different ethics and morals, how individuals behave towards one another. Now, what I want to talk about, and this podcast is geared towards building and rebuilding community. And so we know that religion and culture is so important on how a community functions, on how they interact in the community. If they have any values, any ethics or morals, it will show how they treat one another. But if we don't have any values, if we don't have any ethics or morals, if we don't have any things of prayer or any higher power that is greater than us, then you'll see the effect of it and the impact of it in our communities. You'll see that it's there, or you'll see the lack thereof. Even if there's several different belief systems in that community, there are certain principles of community that are in all religions. Now, I want to say that. And so community is shared institutions, leaderships, and social structures. So in order to build community, we must capitalize on what we agree on. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this topic also is because this is a very important topic, and it determines how the recidivism rate, it determines how the crime rate, it determines how the prison rate, it determines the dropout rate. Because if people don't have, young people and older people don't have morals and values and ethics and things of that nature, then we don't care how we treat one another. We'll steal from one another. We'll rob each other. We'll break into each other's homes. We'll take from one another. We'll kill each other because there's no values, there's no ethics, there's no love, there's no concern. It's all about me, 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 me. Selfishness will dominate. And so that means if selfishness is dominating, I'm not concerned about you. I don't care about how I treat you or how I impact your life. And so in order to build community, we must capitalize on what we agree on. Now, here's the thing. In the Chicago inner city, we have a few religions that dominate, the primary religions that dominate in the inner city, which is Christianity. That's mostly Roman Catholic churches. You got, black churches, which is, Pentecostal churches, Baptist churches, things of that nature. You have Jehovah's Witnesses. They all fall into the category of Christianity in some way, shape, or form. You have Islam. You have the Black Muslims, the Nation of Islam, and then you have other sects, other divisions of Islam as well, who function in the same city, and they may have different beliefs. Core beliefs may be the same, but they may have some doctrinal disagreements, as does Christianity. You have different denominations that have different, they have the fundamental belief of Jesus Christ being Lord and Savior, but they may have other teachings that are separate or different or distinct in their denominations. Then you have Judaism. You have Judaism. You have those who are, ethnically Jewish, and they may be from Israel, or they may have heritage, their inheritance or their heritage is from Israel, and so they have practices of Jewish religion. And then you have those who are Christian Jews, who have different beliefs than the traditional Jewish religions. They are actually Jews who are from Israel, ethnically from that place, identify with the Jews in Israel, but they have a belief that Jesus Christ is Lord as well. And so that's two different sects of the Jewish religions. Then you have now Hebrew Israelites is a smaller group that is in the Chicagoland area, but it still functions in the inner city of Chicago. And then also we have other diverse and pluralistic traditions, all throughout the city. And so here's my point today, everybody. It's so important if we want to build community. As I said before, we must determine not what we disagree on, because we know that we have a lot of disagreements. We have a lot of areas that we don't see eye to eye on. But religion dominates in culture. It affects so much that the only way we can't expect for the murder rate and for the all the negative activities that's going on, the high school dropouts going in and out of prison, things of that nature, people harming other people, hijacking, taking people out of cars in broad daylight. We can't expect those things to change, because watch this, even though we have different religious beliefs, we still all live in the same communities. We all still live in the same communities. If we all live in the same communities, we all are facing the same problems. If one house is a Jewish house and one house is a Christian house, but people get killed on that block all the time, no matter what religion lives here or lives there, there's still both households has a problem of murder on their block or in their inner city or in their community. So some kind of way, regardless of them having disagreements in their religious beliefs, they have to come together and decide, how can we combine? What do we agree upon? We need to stop this murder rate. What do we agree upon? We need to stop all this killing. What do we agree upon? We need to stop the hate of one towards another in our community. We need to stop this. How can we come together and find out what we agree upon, regardless of our religion's beliefs? We all live in the same culture. And what's happened is the culture of that particular environment that I'm describing is murder, is killing, is dropping out, is going to jail. That's the culture. That's what's in the culture. That's what's dominating in that particular culture. Not saying that everybody in that community is functioning that way, but that particular aspect of the culture is affecting that community, regardless if you have Jehovah's Witness in this house, Christian in this house, Muslim in this house, Hebrew Israelite in this house, and they all on the same block. Everybody combined has the same problem. We have to find out, how can we get together? And so it's very important today. I want to talk to those from different religions. I'm a Christian. I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. That's my religious belief. That's my religious choice. That's my belief system. That's how I live my life. But does it say that I can't work with somebody who does not believe like I believe? If we can pool our resources together and help to rid our community of these vices, drugs, alcohol, dope, all these different negative things that's happening, we have to come together and say, listen, we have some plans, some strategies. We have some ideas. We can sit down and have meetings, and we can put aside our differences and sit and say, listen, this is what we need to do. We need to come together. We need to start holding some community engagement events. We need to start working on giving our young people more to do in our communities. What resources do you have, Muslim? What resource do you have, Christian? What resource do you have, Jehovah's Witness? What resource do you have, Jewish religions, Catholic churches? We need to ask ourselves that as we're sitting around the table and say, how can we come together to help build and rebuild the moral fabric and change the culture? See, culture changes. Just because there's certain values or certain things being exercised in the community now, that doesn't mean that they always have to be exercised. So you can change. So culture evolves. Culture changes. And how does culture change? When mindsets change, culture changes. Because now there's going to be a certain ethic and moral value reinstituted. There's going to be certain ways that we function with each other reinstituted. And so now we regain the culture that maybe we once had at one time, when a whole community operated together and raised each other's children and we didn't look at each other as being, someone who couldn't say anything to my child when my child was doing wrong. No, at one time we appreciated when another adult or somebody corrected your child. And because they say it takes a community to raise, Bianca, was there every time in your community when everybody was working together to raise the kids in your community, Bianca? Okay, okay, and that's something, because maybe there was some communities who maybe didn't function like that, and Bianca may be a lot younger than I am, but I think that uh, probably within the last 20 years, uh, this is when things started to change, Bianca. It started to change like within the last 20 years, where well, actually, no, maybe a little bit longer than that, where it was no longer nobody in the community knew each other anymore. The neighbors don't even know each other. At one time, we used to know, just we can look at you and say, I know what family you come from. I said, you belong to the Jameson family. Oh, yeah, she belonged to the King family. We just looked at her, Bianca, and just knew exactly who they were. And so we need to get back to that. That's something we want to get back to. So how important is religion in the inner city culture? That's a question I want to pose to those out there. And like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and also to our Facebook channel. But how important is religion and in the inner city culture? It's a community hub. It's a central pillar, meaning that there's food pantries at churches. There's job fairs. There's anti-violence rallies. There's a church over on 79th Street is going to have an anti-violence rally. I think in June. I think it's like June 7th. And I think it's Father Flager. They're going to have an anti-violence rally where they have Chance the Rapper, who's going to be coming out. And because people like Chance the Rapper, they're going to be coming to hear him perform. But the main focus of the rally is anti-violence. And so churches in inner cities are important because they have, for those families who are going through struggles, they may not have enough food, they may not have enough clothing. They have food pantries and clothing pantries, at these churches also. And then some mosques also have, they help out with families with rental assistance. Some temples, have rental assistance. People call, and they say, I can't pay my bill. Can you help us? My family's going to be put out. Our lights are being cut off. We don't have any place to sleep. We need beds. We need baby beds. We need, food and things like that. And so there in the communities, there's temples, there's churches, there's mosques who are looked at as a safety net that the people in the community can go to and say, we need your help. And so this is how important these places are in the inner cities. Some families need counseling. They need counseling. And so they may not have the money to go to certain counselors. They may not have the insurance to go to certain counselors. And so these particular religious entities operate, and they have counselors who may say, hey, I will give service. I will use this as service to the community and allow families to come in for counseling. This is how important religion is to the inner city. These places, and watch this, if the places in the inner city are not functioning with these particular programs, then we have forgotten why these places are there. Most religions, they want to make sure that they're serving the community. They are of some service to the community. And so also reentry programs, when people go to jail and they get out, they need to be reacclimated to society. Some have been gone for years. They've been incarcerated, been in prison for years. And so they have kind of lost touch on society. And so these religious places, these temples, these mosques, these churches, these organizations help people to re-enter into the community and the society. Also there's cultural identity with these different places because you have music, you have gospel music, you have masses, church masses, you have Islamic prayers, you have Caribbean Caribbean cultures who have Caribbean events outside, and these are traditions. And so these religions you'll see on the lakefront, different Caribbean cultures playing music, and this is a part of their religion, and people come to it. Now, watch this. I'm talking about these different things, and then the last thing I want to say this is syncretism. You know, there is syncretism, meaning that these religions blend in with the culture, meaning that if there's a hip hop culture in the inner city, hip hop, which is music, not only music, but it's how people dress, it's how people use slang, it's how people, you know, how they interact with one another, you know, how they are affectionate or non-affectionate to one another, and also hip hop culture deals with the you know, certain jobs, structures are opening up. They play certain music in them. The libraries, when they go to after school programs, the kids have certain music playing in those libraries because they know this is what the kids like to listen to. And so it gives them a safe haven to come into, to sit down and get their work done, whether they're interacting with their friends. You know, it's a positive environment. And so some churches, some mosques and temples are doing that as well because they know that's a way to, as a safe net. So syncretism means not conforming to the negative aspects of culture, but the religions, instead of judging how people, what they listen to, instead of judging how they dress, instead of judging the slang that they use, they are kind of blending in and saying, we accept that, that's okay. We still love you in spite of that. And watch this, nothing's wrong with that. How you dress, how you, what you like to listen to, you know, certain things. And so, you know, it helps the acceptance factor be more prevalent, where people don't feel like they're being down talked or being torn down. And so syncretism to a certain extent is very important. Now, I'm going to show something that now professors at schools, religious professors, are getting together and they're blending with culture, with hip hop. I'm going to show a video. We're going to show a short video of how religion and hip hop now is coming together as one.
We have experienced major cultural shifts and developments over the past 40 years, but perhaps few with the global impact of hip-hop culture. Forged within inner cities of the United States, hip-hop culture has grown to shape how a global community understands the large and small issues of life.
Likewise, religion has played a profound role in the development of human civilization. Whether one celebrates or laments this fact, it is useless to deny the ways in which religion has marked human communities across the globe and throughout the centuries. This class, Religion and Hip Hop Culture, offers an opportunity to explore the connections between religion and hip hop in ways that open us to seeing our world differently, to understanding anew how humans express in creative and compelling ways their answers to the large questions of existence, as well as the more ordinary challenges and joys of life.
And we do this in a unique way, a unique instructional team. A university professor of religious studies who is a longtime fan of hip hop, and an internationally known hip hop artist who also has something to say about religion. We'll look for you in our virtual classroom.
Amazing, amazing. Religion and hip hop are meeting one another. Isn't that cool, Bianca? That is amazing. That now, you know, we have you know, professors, religious studies professors who've decided, and that guy on the video, some of y'all might know who he is. He's from a hip hop group called UGK. His name is Bun B. He's a business owner as well. He owns a place down in Texas, I think Port Arthur, Texas, called Trill Burgers. And they sell, you know, he has the best burgers, they say, in that area. But just to see how this professor, that guy with the red Adidas, Run DMC jogging suit on. He had the outfit, the LL Cool J jogging suit, and now he's teaming up with a brother from Port Arthur, Texas, and they're saying we have to fuse together, syncretism. We have to get together in order to make an impact on our community and our society. We have to put our differences aside, and we have to find out, how do they intercorrelate? How does hip hop and religion correlate with one another? How can they impact one another? How are they impacting each other now? What is the effect of it in the community? And so, just realizing that those are two people who are purpose-driven people, who have recognized the need for combining these things, because in society they function together and they can impact one another, and it can change the behavior and the mindset and the attitude of those who are in the hip hop culture and in religion, and they can say, hey, we can get together and we can love God and we can have an impact on each other, restoring our community. And so that's their purpose. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's their purpose, just even deciding to do that. And so an impactful religion understands the specifics of inner city culture and does not condemn the positive attributes of it, but attempts to understand it. So it's so important that we understand. Now, even though, as I said earlier, every religion does not believe what the other religion believes, per se. They may have certain different ideas about who they say God is in the inner city. And I'm talking about the reality of the inner city right now. I'm talking about what's in the inner city. There's different religions, there's different belief systems, there's different teachings, there's different doctrines, but we all live amongst one another. And so that's the reality of it. That's where we live. But in order to impact our community and change the mindset of people need to see us not fighting against each other, not hating each other, not tearing each other down. And I'm not saying that we are supposed to start believing what each other believes. That may not never happen. But we have to come together and decide, how can we impact positively our community and change the mentality of our families and young people, so that they can be better parents, so that they can be better leaders and examples in their home, so that the children can be more respectful, so they can have more goals and better examples to know how to live, how to interact, how to treat each other, consistently, not inconsistently, but consistently. And so that's why it's so important. That's why I'm talking about this one of these mountains of influence, or one of these 7 spheres of influence, which is religion. And this is what a scholar said. This is a viewpoint from one of the scholars. He said, religion is the cultural glue. Scholars say that religion acts as a foundational social institution that provides the shared meaning necessary to hold a community together. I'm going to read that again. It says, it's the cultural glue. Religion acts as a foundational social institution that provides the shared meaning necessary to hold a community together. You have to understand that if we didn't have religions in the community, because each religion teaches certain ethics and morals, if it's a true religion. Now, if it teaches against ethics and morals, then it's considered a cult. Because some cults teach against the norm of ethics and morals and values and treating each other correctly. Some cults believe that you can treat anybody any kind of way and it doesn't matter. That's a cult. But the religions I'm talking about that's in our inner cities, most of them believe, if they don't have the same teachings, most of them believe that we're supposed to treat others how we want to be treated. Most of them believe that we should love ourselves as well as love others. Most of the foundational religions in the inner city. And so another thing that is important for religion, it teaches intersectional diversity. Okay, exploring how different faiths shape communities is a crucial part of intercultural and global citizenship education. Let me read that again. Exploring how different faiths shapes communities is a crucial part of intercultural and global citizenship education, meaning that This is what this means. In order to coexist effectively, we must respect the positive aspects of one another's views, build upon what's necessary to build our communities. And so we have to teach people how to coexist with differences. That's what it's saying. We have to teach people how to coexist with differences. And just because you disagree on something, something as simple as, what we're watching on TV, or something as simple as, what party you're going to choose, Democratic or Republican. What party you're going to choose, who you're going to vote for, what team you're going to choose. These differences are differences that we must decide to agree to disagree. We don't let these differences destroy us and have us hating one another, as well as religious differences. We don't let these allow us to hate one another, because we have the right to choose. You have the right to choose what you believe. You have the right to choose the lifestyle you want to live. You have the right to choose. Everything in society is a choice. Now, in the religious sectors, the religions may disagree with some of the choices that people make in society, and so they teach against it, or they say that it's not of God, but we still can't make anybody live how we want them to live. But watch this. Even if they never agree with our religious system or beliefs, we must still love them and serve them. We must still have an idea of love, and that because they're part of the community. How can we help this person be beneficial to the community, even if they never believe what I believe? Now watch this. I'm going to say this, and some people may disagree with this, but this is what I believe that most religions in the inner city of Chicago, or inner cities, period, most religions believe this. Now, some of these may be kind of iffy, but I think most religions in the inner cities believe this. They have a God that they serve, and they have a supreme being that's over them. And so they believe, you should not put no other gods before me. These are the 10 commandments. You should not make yourself for a carved image. Most religions believe that you shouldn't serve yourself as an idol. You shouldn't put yourself up on a pedestal above the God of your religion. Most religions believe you should not take the name of the Lord God in vain. And this is in Christian religion, but most religions believe that you should not say whoever you believe in name in vain, whoever that God is of their religion. But watch this. Most religions have a day that they worship. Keep the Sabbath day holy. They have a certain day that they worship, certain day that they go to the temple, certain days that they pray, certain times that they pray. Most religions have that. Most religions teach you to honor your father and your mother. They also teach you that you shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. When you're married, you need to be faithful to your wife. Most religions in the inner city, of the ones I named, the ones that really dominate in the inner city, they teach that, and they teach that you should not steal. Most religions teach that. They also teach that you should not bear false witness against your neighbor. Don't lie on your neighbor. Don't lie on me. Don't lie on the person next to you. Tell the truth about who they are. Tell the truth about who you are. Don't just lie on people. And then you should not covet. So these are areas that I believe that most of the religions in the inner city, in the Chicagoland area, in other areas, they believe these things. Covet means I should not be so enamored with what you have or what you possess, the car, the wife, the children, the family, the career. I should not be so possessed or obsessed with that I want to take it away from you at all costs. That's covetousness. When I want what you have so bad that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it. Most religions will teach against that. Now, so I want to submit something, because this is a solution-based podcast, as I said today. This is a solution, and now I'm going to turn the corner. Because, as I told you, my profession of faith is Jesus Christ. I believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. I believe that he died on the cross for our sins. And I believe that in those areas right there that I just named, that I said that I believe that most religions believe in, those 10 areas I named, Jesus summed it up. He says, these are the law of love. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. He summed up all 10 of those laws in these 2 sayings, and especially number 2. I believe that this is how we need to function. Love your neighbor as yourself. The law of love has to be instituted in order to change the hearts and minds of those in the inner city, thereby rebuilding our community. I'm going to say that again. The law of love is what needs to be instituted. And as I said, I believe those 10 things that I named, most religions believe those things. To sum those things up, they are the law of love. What is the law of love? The law of love is loving your neighbor as yourself, not wanting to do harm to your neighbor, just like you don't want to do harm to yourself. And those things I described, that sums it up. And then also, love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind. Watch this. The law of love has to be instituted. If we want to help Chicagoland area, if we want to help the mindset and the heart, because the only way we can have head knowledge and we can have an understanding of what's going on in society, we can agree on certain things, and we can try to and we can have programs and activities, and we can do things to help build the inner city and, give tools and resources and jobs and careers. We can provide those things. But if there has not been a heart change, the individuals won't change. And so the activities will still remain the same. So there has to be a heart change in order to change the hearts and minds of those in the inner city, thereby building our community. We have to institute the law of love. And as we get ready to close today, I want to share with you something. This is the solution. As I said, this is a solution-based podcast. This is a solution-based podcast. This podcast is one where we want to offer solutions. We're talking about religion today. And I've talked about it in different facets. I've talked about what religions are in Chicago. I talked about how we have to come together in order to impact and to effect the inner city and to change the mindset of those in the inner city. We have to work together in programs, and we have to bring resources and tools together. We have to stop fighting one another. We have to stop coming against each other. People need to see us working together to create a better community and to help change the mindset of those in the inner cities, to help remove the trauma, counseling services, trauma services, so that parents can be better parents to their children, so that the children can see better examples, thereby reinstituting a new culture of ethics and morals. We talked about all of that. We have to come together and sit down at the table and say we have to pool our resources together to impact our community. But as I said, this is a solution-based podcast, and I want to offer a solution. Check this out. Wondering eyes analyze these last days and times. Drug-infested, children molested, neighborhood filled with crimes. You're trying to figure out a plan for escape or deliver, counting on yourself for your mental health. But I beg to differ. The choices you make have you indulged in the stats of murder rate. Hate fills your heart, problems in life you frustrate. You begin to place yourself up on a pedestal. But that's irrelevant, though, if your spiritual life hasn't been settled. Man's born in sin and shaping in iniquity, you see. But when Jesus sets you free, then you're truly free indeed. My heart bleeds as I plant seeds into everybody in need, attacking the thoughts and the intents of the heart. Soon as I start, the enemy flees. So stop searching this perverted world and get converted, world. Times are changing. Your life needs rearranging. No need to keep hurting, world. There's a solution to all this confusion because daily life is no longer amusing. You see, crack kills. It deletes your will. People are dying from alcohol abuse, and the spiritual man is dead. So evil thoughts run through our head because instead of accepting Jesus, we deny him even though he bled and died for all our sins, hoping our soul that he would win. He remained in the grave for 3 days, but they were amazed when he rose again. We're blessed that he stood the test. because he was God manifest in flesh. But unless you receive his spirit, you'll never be at rest. Why? Because he's the solution. Today, I want to offer you on the Block Podcast the solution to the inner city recidivism rate, crime rate, high school dropout rate, prison rate. The solution to that escalating is a heart change. And it comes through and by accepting the Lord Christ into your life. And he changes your heart. He changes your mindset. He recreates your ethics and morals. He helps to develop a new culture, and your system of belief changes, thereby how we treat one another. We don't want to go out and hurt them anymore. We don't want to go out and kill them anymore. We don't want to go out and abuse nobody anymore. And watch this. As your heart changes, as you accept him in your life, you don't want to abuse yourself, thereby changing the individual, thereby changing the family, and thereby changing the community. And so I offer that as a solution today. And as we close this episode, and we talked about religion and culture. Religion and culture. Religion is one of the 7 mountains of influence that affects our society. But I guarantee you that if you are not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, for it is the power of God unto salvation for those who believe, we will see a traumatic transformation of the inner city upon our acceptance of him. And so I'll see you next week on the block.
Having conversations 4 doors down, and it never really stopped the flow. Time when it wasn't apparent who's the parent, cause when shorty got out of hand, anybody mama